Not sure why that happened. But anyway, foiling cyber terrorism is another item that we have to watch out for. That is part of the number of threats that we watch over. It is something that we have to keep in mind as we protect our systems, because our data, our systems are useful to cyber terrorists. For example, if they need to mine for information, they can use our systems if they're not properly secured. And here's a question about downtime, but not in the sense of attack. Is how many man hours were lost when Google did their Pac-Man? You'll need to do some YouTube searching to find this one. Our threat actors. Our threat actors can be anything from script kiddies who decided to download a piece of code and run it, to hacktivists like Anonymous, who may not be well defined, but they're organized. Nation state actors who have advanced persistent threats and definitely have the knowledge to launch a successful attack. To me, the biggest threat is an insider, because these other groups, they have to figure out their way in. They have to do open source intelligence. They have to do reconnaissance. They have to figure out vulnerabilities from the outside, whereas an insider has legitimate access into our systems. And how do you detect an insider who's about to do something malicious? I have yet to find a way to do that. And to me, that is the biggest threat, is the folks on the inside. And just because there are not enough threat actors, we have plenty more, like our competitors, organized crime, brokers, and cyber terrorists. And then you have another question here. If an employee using Nmap decided to work undercover for a different nation state entity with a cause, what category from the ones I just listed do they fall under? So to defend against these attacks, we start with the layered approach, taking multiple systems together to protect ourselves. So for example, we have a network firewall, we have a host firewall, we have an application layer firewall, we have agents in our systems that are watching over what's happening, we have log management to take all the logs from our systems together and let us know by reports and alerts when something suspicious is happening. Just because we have our systems with the latest updates installed does not mean everything is safe now. We have to do more than just one thing in order to protect our systems. Another is diversity. Just because you're familiar with one product line, don't use that one product line everywhere. For example, Cisco. A lot of folks learn Cisco networking, so they buy Cisco equipment. Well, when there is a vulnerability that affects Cisco's iOS, if your entire company is Cisco based, then everything becomes vulnerable. If you have different vendors, different systems throughout, you bring down that threat. Because if there is a vulnerability out for Cisco and only your switches are Cisco systems, then it doesn't affect your routers, it doesn't affect your firewalls. There's also limiting. minimizing who has access to what through either technology-based like permissions or procedures that say only this group of people can do that. For example, there is no reason why marketing should have access to HR files or to the financial files. Everybody needs to have access to their own thing and not cross share, because that can be a problem. There's also obscurity. Obscurity has kind of gone out of style, the whole security through obscurity. Really, using layered defense is a better way of securing your systems. There's also simplicity of saying it is easy to understand from our point of view, being on the inside, being the ones administering the systems, but making it look like it's complex from the outside. So we kind of frustrate our attackers more, while we know where to go and where to connect to, what to do when an attack happens, because it's never a if, it's always a when. There are also a number of frameworks and architectures that we'll talk about throughout the course. So you'll see things like NIST and NICE and others that you can reference as you start securing your systems to a specific entity. Like, for example, all of health has to follow HIPAA. Anything that's related to credit cards has to follow PCI.